Welcome, everyone. Thanks so much for watching us today.
Thank you.
Ramie and Sam, thanks for being here. And Sam, you're joining us from outdoors today.
I am.
We were
It's a
going to talk
beautiful
about
day.
nature. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you're taking us outdoors in nature with you.
Yep.
That's great.
Here
How
we
cold
are.
is it? Yeah. How cold is it there?
I think it's probably in the 50s. It feels nice to me. I got a nice wool jacket on, and I'm feeling good.
Good. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, tell us more. Since you're outdoors there, tell us
Well,
what you're doing.
this is the land that we share with people. The main way that we share the nature with people here is through Blue River Forest Experience.org or Blue River Forest Experience if you look it up. But we've had 10 acres here. My mom has caretaken since my brother was born. So he just turned 30 actually yesterday. So 30 years we've been here protecting this land. And we share it with kids in the summertime. We have kids come out, and then we do experiences for adults. So we have like sound baths that we record the sounds from nature around here. And then I have that class I talked about coming up on April 21st, just a 2-hour nature immersion class for people and going over some awareness skills. And kind of our story briefly is since I was 6 and my brother was 10, we went to a nature school in Oregon called Coyote Trail School of Nature. And it really affected our lives and our family, and that we realized how important it was to be connected to nature. It really helps a person feel like they're alive, and it just feels good. As long as it's not, the key is you can't go too deep. If you go too far out in the woods, it's scary. But if you have too much in the city, it's too stimulating. So it's the balance. So this place here is on the edge. So you can feel like you're in nature, but you're safe because there's a gas station or a grocery store right down the road. So it's a nice balance here.
Good. So do you pick the berries and eat
Out
them?
here?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have blackberry bushes, and that my mom knows more than I do, but there's a lot of wild edibles that grow here.
I bet there is.
And I'm pretty aware of the ones that are coming up right now too. The green onions have already come up, and bluebells are some of the first spring wild edible that comes up. That's like a leafy green, so it's like spinach, and it has these bluebells that hang down, and they're really good. We were able to. There's a patch that people planted maybe hundreds of years ago. They were in rows, and we've brought some closer to home. But it's really cool. They come back every year.
So. How big do the bluebells get? You said they're about like spinach, or that you eat it like spinach, or
you eat it like spinach. They start in the center and then they go out. So the plant will get to be like couple feet tall. I mean, the leaves get pretty big when they're fully grown. When they're young, they're obviously smaller. But it's like spinach in that it doesn't have a super strong taste. It's very neutral. But it does have a flavor, but it's great for salads, and then the flowers are edible. So
interesting. I'll have to try some.
Full grown, couple feet. Yeah, bluebells are awesome.
They sound like they're about the size of comfrey then, really.
Yeah, they won't get as big as comfrey. About half the size is when comfrey's in its full grown stage. But we have stinging nettles already growing at the creek, and those are great for allergies for people. I'm taking them. And
how do you take it?
So you can make a tea out of the stinging nettles. You can eat them when they're babies. They don't have the little stingers, so you can just eat them. And then you can make soups with it. Stinging nettles is an amazing herb. It's great for energy as well.
I bought some seed this spring to start growing nettles. I was guessing I had them locally somewhere, but I'm not real familiar with it as the plant.
Yep.
I've taken them a lot from, as a dried herb in tea or mixed in other decoctions and things like that. But I haven't grown them. And so I wanted to order seed to be sure I was growing the right thing, right? Just to be safe.
Nice.
And then so I got the package and it says, of course, for it a lot of plants need the winter scarification, or the freezing and thawing to break the shell, crack the shells of the seeds, basically, so that this seed can emerge, the plant can emerge then. And so I think I'll have to wait until next fall to plant so that they overwinter and have a good chance. But I'm excited about growing those. Well, neat. Well, what else do you have there then?
Well, the other day, my mom, Ben, and I actually cleaned up a stinging nettle patch too that had a bunch of vines and things on it. Now it felt really good to just let the plants breathe. We have, every season has different wild edibles that come through. And then they're here for about 1-2 months, and then they're gone. So like the violets will come, the gooseberries will come. We do have pawpaw trees, but with those, you need a male and a female tree for them to fruit. So sometimes they fruit, sometimes they don't, depending. There's so much that can be used that we've forgotten about. Like acorns are actually really great source of protein and fat if you make a flour out of it. But it's a whole process to, take the tannins out and soak them. And same with the black walnut trees. That's the black walnuts. People used to process those. I know my dad's mom, she would put the black walnuts in her banana bread, and it would be black walnut banana bread, and it tastes so good, and it's good with ice cream.
Fudge.
Yep, it's good with sweets. Yeah. So
I use black walnut hulls. I use black walnut hulls in making a antifungal salve.
Nice.
It's one of the hulls. If you use the green hulls, they're one of the, and dry them, of course, and powder them. They're one of the best antifungal herbs.
Yep. So there's a lot of medicines on the land too, and a lot of these actually will grow in people's backyards. They just don't realize it. So like plantain is not the banana plantain, but plantain, the medicine plant. It is great for scrapes, cuts, bug bites. Amazing for healing wounds.
Spider bites, snake bites, even. It draws out. You chew it up a little bit, chew up the leaves, and plaster it on your bite. Yeah, as a poultice, and it draws out the infection. That's what I have a lot here. When we moved to this house about almost 5 years ago, and it's like the first time I walked across the grass, of course, everybody thinking it would be, it's just full of weeds, right? There's no grass. But to me, I saw it's full of medicinals, right? They have tons of medicinal plants. And I told my husband, don't mow. Don't mow anywhere.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, it's good for the bees too. I'd love to be able to do bees. I've done bees before, but we'll see if I'm able to make it happen this year. There's what else? It's kind of fun because as you go, if you stay in touch with the land, you remember like, oh yeah, that's there now, and it's just a matter of paying attention. So there's a lot of purple flowers that come out, blue flowers first, like bluebells and the henbit and dead nettle. Stinging nettles are here right now. Go ahead.
Are you aware if you have cleavers or not?
We do have cleavers.
Yeah. Oh, yep. I love cleavers.
I love cleavers too.
we juice them or put them in a blender with some water and oh,
That's
it's
so
good. It makes you feel so wonderful. You drink a glass and wait maybe 10 minutes and you're feeling happy and youthful, right? Full of energy. It's really great.
Yep.
It's supposed to be a liver tonic also.
Yep, those are great for heavy metal detoxification as well. Like one of the best, along with like cilantro, the herb, and any other like spirulina, chlorella. Cleavers are definitely up there with like helping to remove what doesn't belong in the body, those binders to the blood. So it's a blood cleanser.
Yeah, I was looking through our yard yesterday or whatever, and it's starting to come up. That I was looking at the patches. It was coming. It's about this big now. Yeah, so
I have seen it. Yep, it is here. And when they're really young, that's a great time to consume. I mean, there'll be plenty, but yeah, it's a good time. So right now, it's whenever the plants come out, harvesting them is huge. So with the stinging nettles, it's like I got to go there every day or as much as possible we just pick the little tops, the top 4 leaves, so they just keep growing like normal. And they actually duplicate. So when you pick the top, they'll do this and this both ways. So it increases the growth. It's amazing. So I want to visit there like most days, get stinging nettles for soup, for tea, to share. And then they can be dried as well for later or freeze dried. So when these plants come, it's like harvest, get them, but leave some. But when there's plenty, there's plenty. There's so many, and it's also the way that you harvest. If you do it in a way that's respectful to the plant, obviously, then it just gets better every year. So
yeah, awesome. I need to do something with my comfrey. I brought it with me when we moved, or I brought lots of things with me when I moved, but it's the roots I want most. I mean, I eat some of the leaves in the spring or use some of the leaves in salves and stuff, but it's the roots I cherish most, I guess, and they're the hardest to get to. And because I have to put some effort into it. And you have to wait until fall when the tops die back so that the energy pulls back down into the roots so they have the most. So some years I don't get around to it. I didn't last fall, but I had some from the fall before. So anyways, to use in salves and things. So, awesome. Yeah, I love
my favorite thing when I teach and when I talk about nature connection is really just getting people to be aware of what's around them, like open their senses to being aware and having awareness. Because once you have the awareness, you start to see what's there and what's been there all along. And you can just start with learning about one plant, because it can be overwhelming, but just one plant. And there's even apps today that like Seek app or identifying apps that you can take a picture of something and find out what it is and do research that way. But there's plenty of books. If there's a certain plant that interests you or a tree, you just want to take a picture of it or even harvest it and bring it back and identify it, find out what it is. And then once you know one, you just learn the next one and the next one and the next one. It just leads to knowing more and more about what's out there. And it's so much fun to know like about the trees, the plants, the animals, and how it all interacts. And it really helps us, because those wild edibles are so valuable for our wellness and our well-being. And especially if it's in the area where you live, if you're consuming or using the plants as medicine in the area you live, it really helps you adapt to whatever landscape you're on. Even if you just have a little backyard, the plants are really there to help us. And the first step is just being aware and going outside and cultivating a love and appreciation for the natural world. And then once that's established, then you can start to like identify and categorize and understand things. But first step is just going outside and becoming aware of what's around you.
Right. Absolutely. I like to take step further, I guess. Even I mean, I really cherish that way that you're talking about also, and you have to have that as like the framework for it. But as an energy worker, I feel the plant's energies, and each one has its own energy. And especially trees, the bigger the tree, the more energy it has. And so I go and like place my hands on trees and tap into their, focus on connecting with their energy. And I feel it so strongly. And just the other day on the Friday, I think it was, and I wasn't feeling real well that day. And so I went out to a tree and I said, please heal me. And it was like the tree, I just waited, and the energy then ran through me and I could feel the changing, and then bam, it was done. I was good, and I felt better, and I kept getting better each hour, and by bedtime I was completely well. Yeah.
Nice.
And woke
Very
up
good.
this morning. Well, so I just love trees, and
I do too. I love them. I love them. Look at that
they're
tree
awesome.
look at that tree in Sam's picture.
Right. That's what I was thinking about. That's so great of him to be outdoors this morning. And while he's gone from his chair, I'll just continue my thing about the trees. In March this week for the equinox, like I did in the fall for the fall equinox, I'm doing this spring. Also, I call it Friend-A-Tree-Week. And the energies of the equinox wax and wane like the moon does. So you don't have to just do it one day. I set it up over a whole week to encourage people to go, and I call it holding the trees. So you put your hands on the trees and your feet on the ground, barefoot if you can, or in moccasins or something with leather-soled shoes. But if you just have your hands on it, if it's too cold, that's okay too. It works. And because trees are connected with all the microbiome through the earth, they're connected with all trees, and they're also their energy, just like every part of energy, has a bit of sentiency, not quite as much as humans, but they're full of the creator energy, right? And when you tap into that, you can feel their wisdom, hear their wisdom speaking to you within your own spirit. And so I send my spirit's desires are the same at base that everybody has, and that's to know our oneness with the creator or with the whole, right? We're all fractals, or all parts of the great whole, the great spirit. And by holding the tree and sending those intentions that everyone in the world, in every time and space and dimension, would know what their spirit yearns for, and tune into that to fully know that connection, then the trees send that intention throughout the world too. So it amplifies ours incredibly much, especially the people who are doing it. And so that's coming up the week of the equinox, and I'll be sending out emails and things for that. And I've also developed a couple Biofield sessions. One is to activate your 360-degree sensing system, which is your biofield around you, and to activate the senses in that can pick up and bring into you more and more of the information from the universe. And then the second session tunes the body, parts of the brain and parts of the body, so that your body can receive those signals and respond accordingly easier. So that's it.
Wow.
A lot of it. Yeah, it's really awesome.
That's extremely powerful. Yeah.
It is.
I relate to so much of what you're saying. So I would love to be at that event.
Yeah. So you're going to send us the email?
Well, I haven't even thought of doing it in person. I've just done it online, but let's do it in person. Sure.
Well, I was just talking about
with we can invite
the
anyone wants to. Awesome.
Yeah. You could even come out here if you wanted to do we have people
That
come
would be
out
fun.
and do classes here. So I was just thinking about your tree, what you're talking about with the trees, and putting your intentions up to the trees, because yeah, I definitely feel that. That's awesome.
And you can do it on every plant has its own. Like
Right.
One of the first plants I found it on was a wisteria. No, not wisteria. Anyway, I can't think of it. It's a real common plant. It's just slipping my mind. And it's kind of wavy and flowy, and it was in full bloom. And it was like, I kind of expected tree energy again, right? But no, it was wavy, flowy energy.
Gotcha.
And like plantain or everything. It just has its own distinct energy. It's really neat. Yeah.
That's cool. We do exercise with trees here called Meet a Tree, where one person is blindfolded, they can't see, and the other person leads them to a tree, and then they meet that tree and they get to know it and they feel it, but they can't see it, so they're just feeling it. And then they get brought back to the same spot, and then they spin them around, and then they have to find which tree, and they're in the forest, which tree they just met, and based on their other senses. So it really gets them to know the trees in a different way. And when you take that sense of sight away, the other senses become heightened. So it's a kind of cool way for them to meet a tree. Then they're like, oh, that's my tree. And I think the trees really love being acknowledged, and they're there, but we're not always like, hey, thanks for being a tree and helping me breathe and doing your thing. And it's really nice to see them and feel them and acknowledge them and appreciate them. So that's one way that
it is.
I feel like people connect deeper to them, and it's through their senses, but it's through taking one of them away, and then they're able to experience it in a different way than they have before, which is very memorable. So that's one thing we'll probably do at the event that I'll do. That's one of the activities. Probably, we'll see.
Oh,
Got a lot.
That sounds really great. When you were talking, that sounds awesome. One of the things that it really reminded me of when you were speaking of, I majored in horticulture in college, and it's like that way of knowing a tree was so much deeper, fulfilling, right? We went down lists, and we went across the campus, and we had like 50 trees a week that we had to learn, or however many it was, right? 20 plants a week that you had to memorize, and you had to know the bark and the leaves and the twigs and the so forth about everything, and be able to recognize it when you were given a sample on the table or something, right?
Wow, that's different.
But I don't remember it. I mean, there's so much I've learned, right? It's been let's see, 40 years ago, right? So, too many different types of jobs and life changes and things between then and now that there's so much I don't remember. But I reconnected with nature a few years ago before we moved here, but I was doing house cleaning and gardening for elderly women who were in their 80s and 90s and still in their homes. And one lady I did the gardening for, she was in her 90s. She worked beside me doing almost as much as I could do every day. And it was just amazing. But more amazing than that was her connection with nature, right? She taught me so much because, college was head learning, right? And I had some heart because I grew up on a farm and I loved the country and the trees were so special to me then. But I had lost that in growing up. And so here I was helping this elderly lady, and she helped me much more because she reconnected me with I guess I could say my inner self and the energy in nature that's available for us. And she would go up to a bumblebee on an echinacea bush or something and pet it, just like that. So I did too. And we would walk through her forest of an extra lot next to her house. And she would, you know, oh, it was just beautiful. I love her so much. Yeah, she reconnected me to nature. So when I could move here and see everything, I knew what I had.
Right.
And it was so positive.
Yeah, it seems like the difference between when you were in school, everything was kind of separated. Like, here's a separate leaf. This is a separate, you know, it's kind of cut apart, and it's just like you're only using your head, right? But your head is, if you use your whole body, so much more powerful than just using your head or just a part, just learning about a part. So it seems like you kind of started to learn about the whole, like the connections between things rather than the separation of the different parts of things. And just briefly going back to the closing your eyes or being blindfolded when you touch a tree. Some people do that naturally, right? You're touching the tree and then you just like close your eyes and you really feel it. And there's something that does biologically that just lets us go deeper into, I think, more into feeling, maybe feeling the tree, the presence of the tree, which is like, we often look at trees. You know, if we're driving, we see trees in our peripheral all the time. But when we feel them, it's different. And I think that's what, when you take the sight away and you're like closing your eyes and you're out on a sunny day and you're just touching a tree and you're like, wow, this feels really good. And my mom, she does forest therapy walks from the teachings in Japan on forest therapy, the Shinrin Yoku. And they teach about the phytoncides that the trees actually release that help people heal from whatever conditions are going on inside them. So they're actually releasing those. I don't want to call it a chemical, but maybe you would know, Carla. But there's something that's being released called phytoncides that helps the tree protect itself and heal from disease, and it helps us heal as well. So I know my mom talks about that with forest therapy.
I don't know what it's called, but it works. I know it works.
It's real. It's scientific. It's very real.
When I go out to a tree and ask it to tell me, it does. The first time it happened, because I had taken a nap and I needed to get ready for a session that was coming up. And I was, you know, sometimes when you take a nap, you wake up and you're just totally out of it, right? You can't connect with things. And I wasn't getting it together in time for the session. So I walked out to the tree and I just put my hands on the tree and tapped into its energy. And I said, can you straighten out my mind? You know, can you clear my mind? And the tree says, yes. And I was just shocked because I thought, how in the world can a tree do that? I said, you can? And the tree said, yes. So I said, please, how will I know when you're done? And the tree said, you'll know. And soon I could feel the energy, the tree energy flowing in me and healing me. And then all of a sudden, boom, I knew it was done, right? Kind of like in a session, when I'm working in a session, when the energy clears, I know it's done, right? I move on to the next. And so awesome. Yeah. It's just incredible. And what I really like too is you don't have to be in person for the tree right next to it. I mean, that's best. But like, I am driving down the road, or it helps if I'm the passenger instead of the driver. But hi, Jennifer. I was just seeing you in chat there. And so it helps. I was the passenger, and so if my husband's driving and we're driving down the road and the tree, there's trees. I live in a rural area. There's trees all over. And it's like, just like I'm in person when I focus on tree energy, you can do that with your mind from a distance as well. And so I look at the tree and I focus on tree energy and I feel that tree energy from there. And it's so wonderful So you don't have to be just there in person if you can't. You can do it
Right.
from a distance too, as your senses develop, as you get used to what you're doing, and the power of your mind, and the energy that's so connected in all of nature, all of the universe around us. It's just incredible.
Yep.
Well, thank you, Jennifer. Yes, thanks for being here today.
They're so helpful. One of the most powerful experiences that I've had in my existence was I did a caretaker program. It was 8 months on a mountain in Oregon, in Ashland, Oregon, like the Cascades. And when I was up there for the last month, I did a month of silence where I didn't speak at all. And I was so in tune with the trees that were there. I felt connected to everything. And the whole antenna thing that you said was very real. I feel like I was receiving knowledge or teachings that were maybe ancient, but they were still there. So it's like the whole energy is always changing, but it's not destroyed. It's transforming. So it's even these teachings that are called lost. They're not necessarily lost. It's just a matter of remembering them or being sensitive enough to pick them up again. And that kind of brings me to, I love the quote, learning is remembering. And it is simple. It's just being able to receive that information. So when I was in silence and I was on that mountain, and the trees were really helping me because they were like antennas or the hair of the earth. And it was an awesome experience. And that's another method of, I took away the eyesight. This time I was taking away my voice and I was just listening. I was really listening a lot. That's all I was doing. And it was an awesome experience. And the Apache elder that we learned from, Stalking Wolf, Tom Brown Jr. wrote a lot of different books, which is some of where we learned that information from. But he took the scouts, Apache scouts, they would do that. That's part of their training, was to blindfold themselves or take away a sense to amplify the other ones. And so silence is another method, just listening. I feel like, I know for me, I talk, even on this podcast so far, I talk way more than I need to. And I mean, talking's great. I love talking. I love speaking. It's a wonderful thing. But listening, the real power is in listening. So Ramie has really like been the true medicine person this whole time, just listening. I love it. So those are pretty much all my words on that. And
yeah.
Well,
I'm very thankful.
All of this reminds of my yoga training.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't blindfold us, but they had us go out in the woods and close one of our senses. But even in the ashram where I studied, I could just listen. Listen is pretty cool. Yeah, and then you learn to listen to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But trees are powerful.
I guess they are. I guess I learned to listen as a child because I grew up in the country, like I said, and we didn't go very many places, especially in the summertime. We were just home most all the time. And we had it was like a quarter section. So we had half field, and then we had the place where the barns and house were, and then we had half of it was pasture. And we had the tallest hill in the area. And it still to this day, when the family gets together, there's often three generations that might walk up the hill together. I did that over Christmas. My son and his wife were back at my mom's too, and we walked to the top of the hill and just, listened, and it just opens up conversation. And it's not the view of a mountaintop, but it's the same perspective, I guess, as far as how it opens up yourself to receive from the universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're
I
out.
wanted to apologize. I just now realized all the other time I was talking, I didn't have my speaker down, so I'm sorry, everybody. I bet that was hard to hear me. So
No, it
I can
wasn't.
hear you.
I can hear you.
Oh, okay, good. So, but awesome. But that kind of, this is a slightly different topic, but not really. I went to a spirit, mind, body show in our area over the weekend. And I don't know if this is backwards to you guys or if the words, but it's a herbal astrology oracle deck. And so this year, like, I've learned a lot about herbs, about the energy, not just about how you can use them medicinally, but about the energy and our connection and how we need each other, not just for what they can give us, but they need us too. That connection, they thrive on the human connection too. And and they can talk to us and tell us what is needed in the garden, what they need to help us and everything. But the other thing I'm learning about this year is astrology and how the energies of the sun and moon and stars and wandering stars, which is what I call planets, all are here for us, right? To sometimes we don't think it's probably for us, and we don't appreciate some of the energies, like days that were just extra. Like, say, Saturday morning, I woke up and it was like, it was so odd. The energy was, I I was connected. I didn't feel like I was out of balance, but it was like I stepped on my granddaughter's foot and I boiled the milk I was heating up for hot chocolate. I don't know, moved the door when I shouldn't have, and it hit my son in the head. And it's like all these little things just kept happening, nothing big. And it wasn't like I wasn't paying attention. So I got to the Spirit Mind Body Fair, and a lady was doing something, fiddling with the, purchased some crystals, and she was putting them in a bag, and it was like she dropped them. And she said, I've been doing this all morning and I'm just so clumsy. And she said, told her, no, you're not. It's the energy today, because this is what, and I told her all the things that had happened. So I'm learning about astrology this year and how I can become aware of what those energies are and how they interact with me. And so I thought this was awesome to talk about which of the sun, moon, and stars rule, they call, are most connected to the plants and what phases of things and the energy that they help the plant with, or interact with for our use again. So I'm excited to learn what I can, not just from in like meditation and pulling a card for wisdom for the day, but also just what I can learn as well in the physical and energy, and how the astrological energies pay attention. The deck is called the Herbal Astrology Oracle. It's 55 cards, and it comes with a booklet in it, and it's by Adriana Ayles, Ayales. So it's really cool, and I was happy to get that. So, Ramie, I know you do a lot of different energy things as well. Do you do oracle cards? Do you do readings of that way too, or not?
No, I draw a card every day for myself. It's fun. No, I don't work with cards. I like them, just I haven't learned them enough to do readings. But I do. I love how they really can pick up on your energy. It's like if you especially ask a question, you will more than likely get an answer or a direction. And that's what I like seeing. Yeah. Yeah.
One lady I talked to, she had she would pull a card for you. It was just free. A lot of people were, doing a more thorough reading and were charging, of course, but hers was just pulling one card is free. And so I picked which deck I would like it from, and it was about our spirit guide animals. And so she posed a question because I'd said, well, I'd like it to pertain to my business. And so she pulled a card, and it was something about support and forgiveness, to be sure you're paying attention to that and giving that this week, or as you're looking to make your decision. And I thought, well, as far as I know, that didn't pertain to anything. And then I thought, well, the biggest thing usually that I have in forgiving is forgiving myself, right? So there's probably still many old things I need to forgive myself for, so I can really move forward in what I want to do. And
Yeah,
then I was just realizing when I was talking, there was a client situation yesterday, and something was said, and I like almost took offense by it, but I didn't think I did. But then I woke up this morning and felt that offense within me. And I thought, while I was talking, explaining the deck, I thought, oh, there it is again, right? Forgive, right? Not that there was anything I really needed to forgive, because really she did nothing wrong. It was just within me. But
Mhm.
I need to forgive her and forgive me for holding it, right? And so yeah, it pertained when I didn't even think it pertained.
Yeah, it usually always
So
does. Yeah. That's what I like
yeah,
about
so
it.
that was really nice. Yeah. Um, well, I was wondering, here it's about that 40-minute mark. This has been a wonderful conversation. I've loved it. And let's pursue that, doing something during Equinox week.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
Perhaps there at your house, Sam, in your forest, and then we'll let people know in case anyone's close enough that would like to visit. But Ramie, you're so
Mhm.
awesome with meditation. Could you lead us, or would you mind leading us in a meditation that would help us connect
Mhm.
with the nature around us today?
Sure. Ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Ground your feet.
Thank you so much. Yes, go ahead.
You're welcome. Ground your feet, shoulders back, palms up. Close your eyes. And let's take that big, deep belly breath. Hold it at the top. Hold it, hold it, hold it. And then slowly let it go. And just feel your body sink down, down, down. And again, inhale, big belly breath. And hold it. And let it go. Feel your body release all tension, any anxiety, any worries, any concerns. Let it all go. Be right here, right now. And right now, we're outside walking a path. And you can hear the crunch of the leaves, the trail. And you start to feel the energy of the trail. You can sense it's old. And then you start to feel everything around you. There's bushes, there's a blue sky, and the sun. Oh my God. It is so beautiful today. It's bright. And as you are walking down this trail on this old path, There's a canopy of trees on each side. And you feel the warmth of the sun. And you just keep walking. And it feels so good to walk. Feel the sun. And then a breeze crosses your cheek. You feel so good. It always feels good to be outside in nature. You keep walking. And you walk. And you walk. And you see a old picnic bench. And you walk right up to it. And it's weathered. But you sit down, ground your feet into Mother Earth, let her nourish your soul, going down, down, down. And connecting your roots, your cords to Mother Nature, however you see it, water, a crystal. And then pause. There's so much to listen for. So much to feel. And then bring it all back up. The rocks, the mud, the soil. Back into your feet, up your legs. Charging up the root chakra. So you are grounded today. And then up your spine, back of the head, and then out through the crown. Let it go, let it go, let it go. To the cosmos and down below. You are grounded. And as you sit here, you feel the sun. Oh my goodness, the sun is entering your scalp, opening up every neuron, every receptor site, every cell. And you can feel your body dancing in the light. And you are simply receiving light. And it feels so good. It feels so good. And you can set your intention for today. It's a great time. Feel the light. Go to your heart space. Feel the love. Send it out to the world. Love, love, love. And then bring your awareness back to your heart again. And bring your awareness back to your feet. And bring your awareness back to the back of your eyes. And slowly, slowly, welcome back. Opening the eyes. And being aware of today.
Oh, that was beautiful, Ramie. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Good one. Thank you.
Thank you.
It made me, it just felt so real. Made me thankful that sometimes I don't always do it with gratitude or with an eager desire to do it, but we have an Australian Shepherd puppy who's about a year and a half old and so full of tremendous energy. It's like hard to control her. And I try to train her, but I haven't fully succeeded and probably won't until she's out of her puppy stage completely. But I take her out in the country a half mile or more to run from our little tiny town. And I get to sit and bask in the sun, or if it's not even sunny, then in sitting on the ground and relaxing and enjoying. It's a wonderful thing. Thank you so much, Ramie.
You're welcome.
And thank you, Sam, for being here. And could you again tell your where to find you for your program in April, and the name of your website again and things like that?
Yep. So my dog, I was going to say briefly, my dog, Issa, she takes me out too. That's something that is often underappreciated too, how they get us to go outside and go on walks and things. So for the event, April 21st, Sunday, 1 to 3 p.m. It's blueriverforestexperience.org, and you can register on there. It's called Nature Connection Event, or Nature Connection Experience with Sam Daniels. And then my business for massage therapy, Jinshin Jitsu, also Nature Connection, is remembertouch.com.
Great. All right, Sam, thank you so much for joining us. And why don't we plan to have you back to join us maybe the week before your thing in April again or something, so you can talk more about it. And we'll be in touch about something for the Equinox week. And Ramie, thank you so much. Love you, dear.
Love you. Bye, guys.
Okay. Thank
Have
you,
a good
everyone,
week.
for listening.